Venezuela. You hear that name in the news all the time, right? And it's usually followed by words like crisis or sanctions. But what if I told you that the fate of this one single nation has a direct line to your wallet, to the stability of our borders, and even to America's standing on the world stage? Well, today, we're going to break down why Venezuela matters. Way more than you probably think. So, which one is it? Is Venezuela just a nation in crisis that we should feel sorry for from a distance? Or is it secretly one of America's most vital and, most complicated partners? The answer is, well, it's kind of both. And understanding that contradiction is the key to understanding everything from the price of your gas to the future of global power. All right, first up, let's talk about the right kind of oil. Because as it turns out, the specific type of oil Venezuela has can have a really direct and pretty surprising impact on your wallet. You might think oil is just oil, black, sticky stuff, right? But it's not that simple. Crude oil actually comes in different flavors. Think of it like coffee. You've got your light roasts and your dark roasts. For oil, the big difference is between light, sweet crude and heavy, sour crude. And trust me, that difference changes everything. And here's the crucial mismatch. The U.S. right now is a huge oil producer. Fantastic. But we mostly pump out that light, sweet stuff. The problem are massive, super complex refineries down in the Gulf Coast. They were built decades ago to process heavy, sour crude, which is the exact kind Venezuela is sitting on a sea of. It's kind of like having a garage full of premium gasoline when your car only runs on diesel. You're still going to have to go out and find that diesel somewhere. So let's just follow the chain here. That heavy Venezuelan crude is the perfect ingredient for our refineries to efficiently crank out diesel and jet fuel. Now, when that supply is flowing and stable, it means cheaper fuel for the entire trucking industry. And cheaper shipping costs for trucks means, you guessed it, eventually lower prices for you at the grocery store. It really is that direct of a line. Okay, so moving on from your wallet, let's look at how this crisis becomes what's known as a push factor. The country's total economic collapse has had a direct and absolutely massive impact right here at the U.S. border. The scale of Venezuela's economic implosion is it's hard to wrap your head around, an 80% contraction of its GDP. To put that in perspective for you, the Great Depression here in the United States was actually less severe. It's an almost unimaginable national collapse. And an economic collapse of that magnitude, it has a devastating human cost. We're talking 8 million people. 8 million. That's how many were forced to flee their homes, creating one of the largest displacement crises anywhere in the world. This is the push factor. When a society's economy completely implodes, people have no choice but to leave. So this all leads to a pretty simple, though definitely not easy, conclusion. A real long-term solution to the migration pressures we see requires addressing the problem at its root. Helping stabilize Venezuela's economy isn't just some abstract foreign policy goal. It's a direct strategy to reduce the key push factor that sends millions of people on that desperate journey north. But here's the thing. A crisis like this doesn't happen in a bubble. So let's zoom out and look at the global power play here. Because when a nation stumbles this badly, it creates a vacuum. And other global powers are always ready to rush in and fill it. As the U.S. put more and more distance between itself and Venezuela, the country's collapse created a massive security vacuum right here in the Western Hemisphere. And this wasn't just a humanitarian problem. It was a golden geopolitical opportunity for America's biggest rivals. So who filled that void? Well, it's pretty much a who's who of major U.S. competitors. China moved in, looking for an insurance policy for its own energy security. Russia saw a golden chance to get a strategic foothold in the neighborhood, and Iran used the opportunity to expand its influence. A broken Venezuela actually became a strategic asset for that. But this story isn't just about the problems. The future actually holds a massive opportunity. We're talking about a potential $100 billion reboot, something people are calling the Great Reconstruction. After decades of mismanagement and crisis, Venezuela's entire infrastructure, especially its oil sector, is basically crumbling into dust. The estimated price tag to rebuild it all is just staggering, over $100 billion. That is a monumental undertaking. And the question is, who is best equipped to lead a reboot of this size? The answer's pretty clear: American companies. Firms like Chevron, Halliburton, and SLB have the exact technology, the expertise, and the capital needed to do it. For the U.S. economy, this represents one of the biggest investment and export opportunities of this century. And this is where everything we've talked about really comes together into one powerful idea. Helping rebuild Venezuela isn't just about economics. If the U.S. leads the effort, it helps stabilize energy prices, it addresses a root cause of migration, and it pushes back on the influence of our rivals. It's one of those rare cases where the smart economic fix is the geopolitical win. Just think about it. A stable, prosperous Venezuela, working in partnership with the U.S., wouldn't just be good for those two countries. It could create a ripple effect of stability and growth across the entire hemisphere. The stakes here are incredibly high. So the real question we have to ask is, can this great reconstruction redefine the future of the Americas for generations to come?